All right.
All right, so we are joined for the second class in a row from all the way across the Atlantic in the beautiful United Kingdom by my friend, cybersecurity expert, the co-founder of Cyblack, Dr. Iretioluwa Akerele. We thank you so much for taking some time for us today. I've got a room full here with me at Velma Jackson High School. This is for all of our computer science engineering students in Madison County schools, including my good friend Angela Jordan over at Shirley Simmons Middle School and our YouTube channel. So thank you so much for taking some time out of your busy schedule for us.
Thank you so much. Thank you for having me today.
Awesome. Now, you're originally from Ota, Nigeria,
Yes.
and you got several degrees in cybersecurity. So take us a little bit about your university experience, how it led you to the United Kingdom, and how you got into the tech field.
Great. So my educational experience, I started from my bachelor's where I studied management information systems in a university called Covenant University in Nigeria. So I did that for 4 years, spanning from 2005 to the year 2009. And then I finished the university and I started to look for employment, which is like the normal thing to do at that time. So did that, got into a bank in Nigeria and I started working as a risk management specialist, which was like my first job. But it got to a point in time, I became tired of the routine that I was doing. I was doing the same thing every day. There was nothing to look forward to, just doing exactly the same thing. And I wanted more. So I
Yeah.
decided to put in for a master's. And that led me to apply for a master's in information security and computer forensics. I applied for this at University of East London here in the United Kingdom. I got in the year 2013, did that master's
Wow.
for 1 year. I graduated with a distinction. So
Wow.
finished the master's, excited. I went back to my country again. And then I was lucky to get a job in the cybersecurity field. And that was like my entry point, leaving the entire thing I've done in the past, even though I was in tech, so to say, but I was not in the security field. So, but because I've done a master's now, that kind of broadened my knowledge and helped me to be able to apply for cybersecurity jobs. So I got in
Yeah.
as a consultant. I started in the year 2015. I started working in the cybersecurity field. I got in as a consultant, worked in the consulting industry for a couple of years, and then I moved to the industry. I started
Okay.
working in the industry. So when I started working in the industry again, I wanted more again. So I started to look out again, what are the things I could do? How could I improve myself and so on? And then that led me to apply for my PhD, which I applied for in my university, which is Cork, University College Cork, which is University College Cork. I did the application. I got in and I started in the year 2019 and
Wow.
PhD spanned for 4 years. So I finished my PhD in the year 2023 and then here
Wow.
I am again. Now, with the knowledge and everything I've done all through the years, I can confidently say that now I have experience in consulting, in industry, and of course, in research.
That is incredible. Now, one thing that we have a lot of IT pros, and just Wednesday, we had another guest from the UK in cybersecurity. Now, if we have kids that are interested in cybersecurity or interested in tech, is this something that would necessarily require them to go to a university and get a degree, or is this a field they can move into with certifications and boot camps?
Yes, so there are different ways or entry points into cybersecurity. So you can decide to go through the structured way, which is education, maybe by going through a diploma or a BSc or whatever program, structured program it is. Alternatively, people are getting into the field without having a BSc in cybersecurity. I was just speaking to someone today who came from the sociology background, but today she's a cybersecurity analyst. So you shouldn't let your whatever it is you studied in the past, you shouldn't let that discourage you if you are really interested in cybersecurity. If you want to do cybersecurity, you can start even by boot camps, like you said, by looking for ways to build your skills, by doing internships, by taking some self-taught courses, and of course, by validating this by taking some certifications. And before you know it, you begin to build your skills, your portfolio, your experience, and you begin to get more grounded in the field.
Yeah, and one thing that we do, a lot of our middle school and secondary school students can get coding experience in high school. And in cybersecurity, coding is going to be more and more important for people to write programs for cybersecurity. Because we think coding, we think the video games, we think the apps, but coding is going to be very big in cybersecurity because, and I know you had a great presentation talking about staying ahead of the hackers, staying ahead of the cyber attacks. These companies are going to need people that can code to stay ahead of these people. So, how important are these coding skills in cybersecurity?
Yes, I would say that coding skills are great and they're also important. However, just to point out, it's not in every field of cybersecurity that you are required to code, which is also good because I've seen people in the past say things like they are scared, they don't like coding, they don't understand it, and they want to start a career in cybersecurity. Yes, you can, but if you can code, it is more like a plus for you. There are opportunities that we see out there, and people who can code get this kind of opportunities. They are also able to, I mean, there are cases where these people get very good opportunities because of the set of skills they have in terms of
Yeah.
scripting. When you want to attack a system, understanding the old technology behind the system puts you at an advantage. So being able to code is a very good skill. It's nice to have. If you have it, it's great and it's awesome. However, if you don't have it, it's not a reason why you shouldn't do cybersecurity.
Yeah, and something that I've learned just in the last few weeks is that when it comes to cybersecurity, it's not just like we see in the movies where it's like James Bond and people are breaking in trying to steal millions and millions of dollars, or in your case, pounds, over there in the UK. So, what are the different types of cybersecurity? Because obviously we see that type in the movies, but there's a lot of other areas of it. So, what are some other areas that people can move into?
Yeah, that's a good question. There are lots of areas out there. Um, I'll start by saying that first thing is understanding that there are different areas in cybersecurity that you can specialize in. Second thing is being able to specialize because one thing I've seen with cybersecurity is that it's just like when you are thrown into the ocean. So cybersecurity is very wide. If you're in an ocean, for example, you struggle to navigate because it's really big. So you need to begin to find your own path or your own niche or your own interest. And there are different areas in cybersecurity that you can begin to look at. One, I'll talk about the ethical hacking. Some people say penetration testing, vulnerability assessment. When you lump all of that together, it's a quite technical part of cybersecurity. And just like you mentioned, coding, people want to go into this skill set, for example, should at least be able to code because that would definitely help them for
Yeah.
some of the things that they have to do. They need to begin to think about what are the things we need to do to build our skills to be able to be competitive enough for this area of cybersecurity. And when you are grounded in such skills, you can apply for jobs such as cybersecurity analyst, cybersecurity engineer, architect, and so on and so forth. Another one I'll talk about is cloud security. I mean,
Yeah.
now we are seeing that a lot of things are moving to the cloud. So the way we secure our on-prem the assets that we have on premise that we call on-prem. Now we need to begin to think about securing the same assets also on the cloud. And that is why cloud security has come to stay. So this is a very specialized skill set in cybersecurity. It's also an in-demand skill set. So people who understand cloud security services or providers stand a good edge in the field in terms of getting opportunities. Another one
Wow.
I will talk about is governance, risk, and compliance. So this
Yep.
sits around the policy, procedure, frameworks, guidelines, standards, regulation side of things. So if there are people who are interested in managing, creating policies, standards, and frameworks, supporting organizations to align, then they should begin to think about governance, risk, and compliance. This field is also very good, also really in good demand. I mean, across the world, it doesn't matter the country you are in, US, UK, Canada, Nigeria, other African countries, and so on. So the skills are in demand, especially for people who are interested in aligning companies to best practice requirements. Another one I'll quickly mention and talk about is threat intelligence. Threat intelligence is now a skill that is required and in demand in cybersecurity. So there are people who want to understand more or know more around threat identification, analysis, and this all of this fits into incidents and some other areas within cybersecurity. So if you are good with the threat intelligence part of things, you are good with identifying threats, analyzing threats, using specific tool sets and things like that, then this is something you may want to consider. Also, helps in jobs like if you want to be a cybersecurity analyst, sometimes they look for people with very good skills around threat intelligence.
Yep.
Last one I will touch on is incident response, or I call it security operations. So security operations, being able to investigate incidents, identify incidents, analyze incidents, report on incidents, and using different tools, dashboards, and so on. This is also a skill now that is highly in demand in cybersecurity. I mean, we're getting to a time now that cyber attacks are now becoming very sophisticated. So because of that, a lot of things have evolved. The tools, the technology, the kind of people that are required to do the job. So people with this kind of skill sets are definitely becoming high in demand. And of course, very soon they will begin to see more of these opportunities coming for people with this kind of skill sets.
Yeah, and one thing you're very passionate about, and this kind of ties into Cyblack, which you founded, and we'll mention that next. You founded a nonprofit called, or co-founded a nonprofit called Cyblack, where you guys really try to diversify the cybersecurity field, and that I think that ties in great because you did a presentation, and we'll share your YouTube channel here in a second. You did a presentation not long ago where you predicted by the year 2030 there's going to be 1.5 million new jobs in cybersecurity just in North America and almost that many in Europe. So why is it so needed to get as many people as possible and diversify as much as possible in cybersecurity?
Yeah, so one reason why it's now becoming important to get more people into cybersecurity is that one, cyber attacks are becoming very sophisticated. I mean, the kind of attacks that we see probably 10, 15 years ago is not what we are seeing today. So it means that the more sophisticated the attacks get, the more people we need in the field to protect from these attacks. So we need more people, people on the offensive side, people on the defensive side, people that can work together, regulation standards, and all of that. And two, diversity is very important in this field. We need more people. I mean, we want to see different flavors to some of the things that we are seeing in the cybersecurity field. And I think that diversity brings that. It brings that unique flavor. It brings that unique perspective to some of the things that we are seeing in cybersecurity. And this brought about Cyblack. Cyblack, like you said, is an organization that is supporting Blacks who are interested in cybersecurity. We are doing that by providing different opportunities like mentoring, trainings, internships, career guidance, support, CV review, assessment, dissertation, and so on and so forth. And with that, we are also promoting diversity and inclusion in the cybersecurity field.
Yeah, and cyblack.org is that website where everybody can get more
Yeah.
information on that. Great resources. Now, obviously, we got to talk about you put in some great content in the last a year or so, in the last weeks and months on YouTube. You have a very interesting YouTube channel, Learning with Dr. Ireti, where you have some great presentations, not only about what you do, about ways people can learn and trends in cybersecurity. So, Learning with Dr. Ireti is your YouTube channel. So, just talk about some of the content you have on there and why you thought it was so important to put it out there.
Yes. So let me start with why did I create a YouTube channel? So the why is very important. The why is because a lot of people come to me. I want to do cybersecurity. I want to learn cybersecurity. I want to know more about cybersecurity. I don't understand something in cybersecurity. And
Yeah.
then I thought, if I have this channel and I put out some resource out there, people can go to the channel, watch it, and get more clarity. And that was
Yeah.
the why behind starting the YouTube channel. Still in the growing stage, I just started, but I mean, I'm going to do my best to put in good content, very good content in the coming months. I have a recent content where I broke down cybersecurity concepts using the ISC tool certified in cybersecurity. And I did that again because people come to me, I want to write this exam, I need resources, I need material. So I thought again, if I break down some of these difficult concepts using very easy terminologies, it's going to be easy for people to remember some of these things and go into that exam and pass it in one sitting. And that was why I did that. And I've been getting some feedback from people. I watched your YouTube channel, I watched the episode, and I went for my exam. I passed it. Some of the things I didn't understand before, I now understand it, which is like the reason why I'm doing what I'm doing currently with the YouTube channel.
Yeah, and I would suggest to anybody, like, I was able to watch a few and I was able to understand it with no problem, and I'm not even intelligent. So you've broken it down very well on there. You show some very interesting facts, very good ways to prepare for the career. So we'll share that link with all of our teachers for them, for any students that are interested. Again, Learning with Dr. Already is such a great channel, and I really want to get everybody behind that to see all the great work you're doing. Now, I do have a couple questions from the students. I like this one. This is Bryson Stevens. He's in ninth grade, and he asked, "What do you think is the hardest part about cybersecurity?"
Well, that's a very good question. Hardest part for me, I think the hardest part about cybersecurity is people. And what do I mean about that? Um, One thing about cybersecurity is that we're not doing it as a standalone. We're trying to use it to support organizations. So by doing that, it means that people need to incorporate changes. People need to improve like their culture of work. For example, I'll give you an example. Maybe previously on your phone, you have a passcode of 123456, just an example. And then I come into your organization or I begin to talk to you. And then I begin to tell you why it is not good for you to use a 123456. What you find is that I may find it difficult to change what you are used to. Eventually, I may change it, but it won't be an easy process because I have to begin to explain to you why you should use stronger passcodes, maybe use something that is more complex, not your date of birth, not something that anybody can easily guess, and so on. So the most difficult part of it is people and trying to incorporate changes into the culture.
Absolutely. And I think it's important. And I'm glad you've mentioned a couple of things that I wanted to hit on real quick. Is even if you're in cybersecurity, you've got to learn to work with a team because every industry has cybersecurity people. So let's say you're working for a hotel company. They're going to have a cybersecurity person. You've got to be able to explain to non-cybersecurity professionals what you're doing and how their assets are safe. So that is such an underlooked skill because we have kids interested in technology, but it's not just the technology. You've got to have the people skills and the teamwork skills. This question is Rashawn Smith. He's in 12th grade, and he asked, "What are the most important assets that need to be protected by a cybersecurity professional?"
That's a very good question. Most important assets. So first thing is, I'm happy you asked this question because if it means that you understand that cybersecurity professionals must protect assets. So first thing is you must, if you are working in an organization as a cybersecurity professional, first thing is you must let them know that they need to identify their critical assets. That's the first important thing. Having said that, what are these important assets? Assets vary. There are different types of assets. One, an employee of an organization is an asset because if you are unable to get into that organization to work, nothing is going to happen. That's the first thing. Second thing is that if you divulge the sensitive information that you hold of that organization, the organization will be affected. So it means that you are an important asset to that organization. Other types of assets, you have your systems like your laptops, desktops, you have your applications, you have your information that is stored on your system, you have your laptops, you have your network devices, you have your servers, and so on and so forth. So these assets are critical to every organization and they should be protected accordingly. So it means that organizations need to begin to understand what are the assets that we have, how critical are they in terms of the information they hold, maybe by way of storage or processing of information. And then they now begin to look for ways or mechanisms to protect these assets.
Yeah, and that's things people don't understand that, when you have all these devices in a corporation, all of those have to be encrypted. Um, Now we're almost out of time, and we thank you so much for taking some time for us out of your busy schedule. But a couple things before we go, we mentioned cyblack.org is the website, and your YouTube channel is learning with Dr. Areti.
Yeah.
But the last thing before we go, obviously with it being Black History Month, it's so important to understand the role that so many people of the African diaspora have played in cybersecurity and in tech. Now, obviously, you were a little girl growing up in Ota, Nigeria, and now you've become an international speaker, been all over the world. Cybersecurity has literally taken you places that I couldn't even imagine, and you've become extremely successful. So, coming from those simple early means in West Africa to being an internationally known speaker in the UK, how can our kids follow in the same footsteps of someone like you?
Very good question. So I would say that one, you need to believe in yourself. If I tell some of you how I started, for example, my first presentation, I mean, I'm not ashamed to say this. The first time I had to present in a crowd, at the end of the presentation, instead of people to clap, they started laughing. It means
Mm.
that I did poorly for them to laugh at me. But I can't, at this stage that I am today, if I make a presentation, people are definitely going to clap. So, what changed from that time till now? One, you need to believe in yourself. Believe that you can do it. It's okay to fail, but the most important thing is picking yourself up and believing in yourself. If somebody else is doing it, you can also do it. The second thing is you need to be consistent. These are some of the things that has helped me. I stayed consistent. Over the years, I knew what I wanted and I was very consistent about it. So you need to be consistent. If you show up today, you have to show up tomorrow. You have to show up next week. You have to show up next month. You have
Wow.
to continue to show up and stay consistent. The third thing I will talk about is that you need to document your journey. That way, you are able to track your growth, you're able to track your progress. Where was I 5 years ago? Where am I today? So you see the changes. And the fourth thing I'm going to talk about is do good work. One of the best things that's happened to me, and one of the things that's made my career to be what it is that I do good and quality work. You need to do good and quality work because that is what is going to speak for you. When people are talking about you, they are going to talk about the work that you do. So, as a cybersecurity professional, they know that the work you are doing is good and quality work. So, at every point in time, when you are working, you are doing good work, and people can see that the work that you are doing is good.
Absolutely. Well, such incredible advice. That was some great quotes, and I'm definitely going to use later. But we thank you so much. I know you got it. It's dinner time over there in the UK. We thank you so much for
Thank
joining
you.
us, Dr. Iretioluwa Akerele, all the way from the United Kingdom. Thank you
Thank
so
you
much
so
for
much.
joining us today.
Thank you.
All right, talk to you soon, buddy.
Yeah. Bye.